Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast here on Boss Rush Games. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going, everyone?
Also here, Colonel Panic himself, Joe Wilson.
Hello.
Also joining us is our timekeeper / lore archivist himself, Mr. Josh Finney. Hi, Josh.
Hey, Corey.
Guys, what a week. Anybody else feel like this week has been like 5 years long?
It's been a long week.
It's been a long week on top of a long year. It's been bad.
I do have to agree with the. Well, there is parts of this week that felt like forever, but once I got to Friday, it felt like, for me anyways, it just felt like it went quick from that point. Just because I didn't know it was Friday already, but
yeah, and then just
I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's
in general.
I don't know if anybody out there is aware, but the leader of the free world is now exiting the White House, and everybody is throwing a huge party. So, yay. Also, in sadder news, Alex Trebek died this week. Also forgot to mention that Sean Connery died last week. What is happening?
Yeah. It's literally one of the best SNL sketches.
2020 looked at us and was like, "Oh, you want to win a presidential election? Monkey's paw curls even more."
Yep.
Yeah.
They're like, "All right, well, we'll let you win it, but we're going to take two absolutely beloved old white men with us on the way out."
Yeah. Jeez. Also, I know she's watching, but not to get super personal or anything, but if you guys follow Megan on Twitter, just send her some love this week. Just go over there, send her some love. We're all rooting for her, so at Super Megatroid, I think she's watching. She said something in the chat earlier, but
Hi, Megan, we love you.
Yeah, we we know we joke, but we're glad that you are going to do this. So, anyways, this is episode 117, which is it couldn't have come at a better time, gentlemen. We have a new Xbox launching in mere hours, gentlemen.
Hours. We are legitimately like 36 hours away from this thing launching.
Two more sleeps as of this recording. 2 more sleeps.
Or no more sleeps.
If you were in New Zealand, it is officially no more sleeps.
Yeah, or if you bought it from Walmart. You got it yesterday or something.
That's true. Yeah, if you're Walmart Canada has treated you well. They haven't even charged your card yet.
I know. I'm sitting here like tapping my foot. Also, by the way, speaking of just terrible long weeks, I had the worst experience ever from Best Buy this weekend. Just the worst. So I ordered, like I said, shipping Watch 2020. Guys, this is the last episode for this.
We have to update this week.
Yeah. Checked my Target. Still says, "Whoa, you pre-ordered. We'll let you know when it ships." I checked the Amazon link for Jesse. Still says, "We'll email you when there's a release date." I'm like, well, it's 2 days away. Chop chop. Then I get a fancy email on Friday at 6 p.m. from Best Buy saying, "Your order's been canceled for your memory stick, your external battery, your blue controller. Oh, and by the way, that sweet Halo statue that was limited, also canceled." So, called them 3 times. 3 times called them. Didn't have an answer for me. Why it got canceled. What to do about it. When my refund will come. And I got anywhere from the first time, and then I also did the text chat thing while I was on the phone with them to see if I could get different answers from people. One guy said within 2 hours. One guy said next day. One guy said 24 to 72 hours. And then 2 people said, your refund will be processed as soon as we can.
So if it hasn't been processed, that's not a good thing. So not to go down too far of a tangent, but in my day job, I do a lot of stuff with transactions and stuff through the internet, credit card processors and things like that. And if I were setting your expectations, and granted I'm not Best Buy, I would say we will process it today, or whenever they process it, it takes 3 business days before it reflects in your account. That's the magic number before your average bank will clear a transaction is 3 business days. So when did you get the email?
Friday.
So that would tell me
Tuesday.
that you're looking at Wednesday. I would
Wednesday.
say. Wednesday you should see that transaction in your account. If you don't on Wednesday, then they are fibbers. And also Best Buy should be way faster at stuff like that than we are, because we're a pretty small company.
Yeah, it's all it says on the canceled order. It says, we canceled your order of this item on November 6th. We will refund your payment now, is all it says on the order.
It should just say, fuck you, Corey. We don't want your money, and we're not going to give you any of this stuff.
That's exactly what they said. And I was like,
we're taking that statue for ourselves and the conspiracy blue.
Look, the last person I was on the phone with, granted, I feel bad for this person. Also, everybody I talked to, I'm sorry, but I know their first language was not English. All right, fine. I'm sorry. I was very aggressive towards this person. The last thing I said was, when can I expect my refund so I can order this crap off of Amazon? They weren't very happy with me. So I probably won't get my refund.
You'll get it. I mean, but
I know.
Also, like, they're inviting you to do that.
I know. So
yeah, because they go, especially when they don't have any kind of answer as to why or how.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I mean, like, I get it with the consoles and stuff. Like, there's this possibility of stuff getting, you know, like, over, like, somehow it didn't, you know, it let too many people order something when it wasn't there. But I feel like something like that, most of those people that may have somehow snuck through by now would have already, you know, known a long time ago that what they ordered wasn't technically going to ever come because there wasn't enough left.
But you know what? I'm gonna say that this, at this day and age, is a solvable problem.
Mm-hmm.
You have someone's credit card information, right? You are potentially charging them or pre-charging or doing like interval charging to make sure that the funds are available. But I'm sorry, if you let 5,000 Xboxes pre-order and you find out that you're only getting 4,500 Xboxes in stock, what you can do to those 500 people is say, oops, sorry, we fucked up. What we can do is one of two things. You either click this button and you're going to get a refund for anything. We're going to cancel your pre-order. We understand. We hate to lose your business, but we want you to be able to get this Xbox if you can get it somewhere else. Or we'll keep your pre-order as soon. We don't have an ETA, but as soon as we know that we're getting more in, we will let you know. You can also change this decision at any time, but otherwise you'll get the next one that we like. You'll get one as soon as we have one for you.
Yeah,
I don't understand why that's not a thing.
Yeah, and that's what I said to Corey this morning when he first told me about the, you know, the statue thing. Like, I was like, well, you'd think that if they, you know, like maybe just found out that they're not going to have enough or whatever, you know, whatever the situation is with that they would have said, you know, like, keep you in a backlog like thing that will be like, okay, like once more come in, we will fulfill yours who've gotten your transactions through, you know, fulfill those and then go from there, you know, like it. Yeah, I've never understood why they don't just do that.
So,
you know,
the only guy, the statue, I have no idea how limited that is. It's only a Best Buy thing in the U.S. So, like, there's either one or two scenarios. Either they're like the factory that's making them or whatever is just like, guys, we're only gonna make like 1,000 of these, and they're like, oh, we've been selling all of them. We'll have to find a way to do that. Or it's like, oh, they're being manufactured with harmful chemicals, and every kid that's touched one so far, his hands burn off, or something like that. And it's like, we need to step away from this statue. It seems cursed.
Yeah.
There's like those
it's literally the flood.
Those are the few scenarios where they might be like, you know what, we're just gonna secretly cancel these pre-orders and just not say anything.
And I wonder, like, because I ordered it all as one order, and I wonder if like that's what happened. If like they didn't have enough statues to fulfill the pre-order, so they canceled the whole order instead of just that.
Yeah, but take it off your websites. I don't know.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, if I walk into my Best Buy on Tuesday after work, they will have a whole bunch of them.
Literally, like half the Best Buy is built out of those statues.
Yeah, like my Best Buy always has stuff that people like can't find. My Best Buy always has like 100 of them. Yeah. So.
One of our Best Buy, we had 2 Best Buys in town, and one of our Best Buys just actually closed like a month ago.
Why do you need 2 Best Buys?
Just, I don't know. Well, it was nice though, living only like 3 minutes away from one, versus the having to drive all the way on the other side of town to go to it now.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I got good shipping news this week, unlike the rest of you, apparently.
Let's hear it. We need it.
My Microsoft Store order finally shipped. Finally. It is somewhere in Kentucky right now, I believe, at last refresh, and it is promised to be here by 4 o'clock in the afternoon on launch day.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's
nice.
Like 3 hours too late for me to be able to boot up Destiny, so I'm going to need them to bump that up to like 11 a.m. I'm not picky. Either my X or my S can come in first. I don't care. As long as it is something that has the next-gen artwork on it, I will hook it up.
That or if along the way someone can update it for you and then ship it to you already updated with it on there.
Oh my god. Yeah, if somebody could just like crack it open and pre-install Forza Horizon 4 and Beyond Light for me, I'd be really appreciative.
Yeah, it's
literally anybody. I'm cool. FedEx.
You know what would be great? I know that they can't do this, but Apple does something similar, and this would be cool. If you bought it from Microsoft, now I'm going to say Microsoft only, if they pre-installed games for you before shipping it, would be such a cool fucking thing.
Yeah, like if they already know that you bought it digitally and like, or whatever. Yeah.
I would love that so much.
Just so you can open it.
Yeah, so like the serial number, if you pre-ordered from the Microsoft Store, the serial number is already tied to your gamer tag, which is really cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, cool, because like it shows up in my status on my online devices. I'm like,
nice.
It's getting real. It's getting real, guys. I'm excited.
I'm so excited. I've been rearranging a little bit of the office, as you can see on the floor behind me. My Xbox One X is on the floor, and a monitor in the original Xbox is sitting back there too. But I'm prepping. It's happening.
Yeah, I got my very first 4K screen ever today. That I've got hooked up and ready to go. Yeah,
courtesy of Ray Apollo, friend of show.
Courtesy of our good friend Ray Apollo, one of my very best friends. It's a Spectre monitor. I love this thing already.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
The Spectre. Yeah, the Spectre is
yeah,
like one of the top rated like people are saying of this year. Like to get.
Yeah, it's a Spectre. I love this thing. It looks beautiful. I played a little bit of Destiny on it and some Forza. Right after I got it hooked up, I had to take it for a test spin, of course. And I'm going to wrap Gears 4 after this podcast with him. So, yeah, I'm ready. I've never owned a 4K screen. This is the only one in the house. I am ready to power my dreams, my friends.
Yes, I'm ready.
I'm just gonna tell you, I don't know how it's gonna be for you, but like when the second I went to 4K, I'm like, I can't go back even to 1440p. I did not like 1440p either, because when it's so close to you, you can tell the difference so much more.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna be fine with 4K 60 frames. I think on this next generation here. So
Yeah.
just because
this puts out at 75 hertz.
Yeah.
I'm quite excited, guys. I'm quite excited. You know, I just hope my dreams don't get canceled by Target. You know, apparently the way my week is going, it's a real
Corey,
possibility.
just believe and power your dreams.
Yeah, the same.
That's what they tell us all over the box.
Yeah,
because dreams is what I have for a first-party lineup.
There's also something about Halo on it.
So my order status says that they've received the order and it's being processed, which could take up to 24 hours. So hopefully that means it's sitting in a store a couple miles away. If I were to break into that store and take it now, I technically have already purchased it. Is it stealing? Breaking and entering. But is it theft? Is it theft?
That's an interesting philosophical question. Philosophy listeners, please weigh in on this for us.
Also,
I think it's okay as long as you hold up your ID and at the camera when you're leaving, so they can see that you are the one who bought that.
Also, do not take legal advice from this podcast. We are not lawyers.
No.
We are not in law school. I almost said lawyer school. We are not in law school.
You do not want advice from me.
I am an
also
art
not
major.
A doctor.
I am an art major. Please do not take advice from me at all. So, anyways.
I'm just a custodian. I can clean up after a murder, but that's about it.
Wow. Okay, moving right along.
Speaking of cleaning up after murders, we have some listener comments before we get into the housekeeping and the real topics of the show. Greg Osterman the third writes in with another great question. He says, "Hey guys, new one for you. Is a burrito just an expensive Hot Pocket?"
I would argue that you can get a burrito probably for cheaper than a Hot Pocket in certain cases.
You can get a better burrito for cheaper than a Hot Pocket. Absolutely.
If you get a cheap burrito though, you're gonna have the shits like a Hot Pocket.
Have you ever had frozen burritos, my friend? Like individually, right?
I didn't get this body shape from not eating the occasional frozen burrito there, Josh.
Let me tell you something. You can get dollar frozen burritos, and those are infinitely better than any Hot Pocket I've ever had.
Yeah, if you get those really long ones for like $1, you can get those smaller ones though for like 65 cents.
Yeah, I eat breakfast burritos all the time. Frozen ones. They've got egg, they've got cheese, they got some sausage, they got a little bit of potato, and they've got some beans smeared in them. It's fantastic. It's a Texas thing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You love to see it. What a Hot Pocket is a cheap like 7-Eleven or Dollar General branded calzone. You know?
Yeah, it's more of a calzone.
It's a bad stromboli. Is
a stromboli just an Italian burrito?
Stromboli is basically a glorified pizza pocket that is just like it was made from on high. John the Baptist himself came down and gave it to us and said, "Here, my friends, this is what will supplant pizza as the new Italian thing in America in about 2,000 years. Just let it fester in your minds until then." And we got it. It's beautiful. You have to go to an actual Italian place to get a good one, but they give you some marinara on the side. You dip it in. It's fantastic. You get really fat. You'll love it. There's so much butter. Oh God.
Speaking of Italian things.
Stromboli.
Speaking of Italian things in America, this is a side tangent, but it was really hilarious. Okay, so my parents came over yesterday, and my dad and I were watching the election results, and he was just like, he was eating something, and like they announced that Biden had won yesterday, right? And he's like, good, that Trump is a panty waste. I'm like, wow, that is a term. That is a term.
I could have gone the rest of my life without hearing your father describe the election results as that.
So I was proud of my dad. That's all I had to say.
I wish I could say the same.
Oh man. Anyways, Ashley Davidson writes in. She said, "Hey boys, are you planning on doing something? What are you planning on doing for the new consoles launching this week? Have you gotten any sort of confirmation?" Well, we just kind of talked about our shipping update 2020. Hopefully, it's our last one. Hopefully, we all have our boxes by the next episode, so we can talk about them.
Yep.
I mean, I think I'm going to try to fly through a lot of the launch games that are on Game Pass at least, and try to record something just to put them up on something. But
yeah, I'll be live on Twitch on Tuesday, Wednesday, and probably Friday. I'll be live playing Beyond Light, of course, some Tetris Effect, and I have Bright Memory pre-ordered, so I'm really excited for that.
Bright Memory is only $10, right?
Bright Memory is $7.
Ooh,
what?
Okay.
So here's the thing. I was going to save this till later on because I was going to bring Bright Memory up. Bright Memory is $7 because it is the version that came out in early access on Steam last year. It is because it's $7 because it's only an hour long. This is not the one that they teased at the event back in May. Bright Memory Infinite, which is the actual full version of the game. Think of this as a glorified tech demo, basically. The actual full version of the game will come out on Xbox and on Steam next spring in 2021, like probably February, March-ish. $7 though for an actual next-gen exclusive. I'm in. I love the way the game looks. I've watched streams of it from Steam, and it is the perfect kind of bonkers game that I want to play. Do you take the wall running of Titanfall? I actually thought it was Titanfall 3 when we first saw it teased. The way that the HUD looked with the gun. And then they pulled out a samurai sword. I was like, nope, that's not Titanfall. Nope. Nope.
Yeah, I thought they were announcing Titanfall 3 like that.
I did. I was like, Ray and I were watching it live, and I was like, oh my god, what a flex! What a flex if you come out and announce Titanfall 3.
That would have been a major flex. That would have been
that show went downhill after that first reveal. It went downhill after Bright Memory. We could have just ended it there and been like, okay. Yeah.
God, that would have been so cool.
Really excited for that. I can't believe that and Tetris Effect are the next gen exclusives I'm going to be playing.
Right.
And eventually Gears Tactics.
All right, we're gonna get into this housekeeping here. This is Arsenal X, the Xbox show here on Boss Rush Games. Every week we come together with our friends from around the internet to talk about the latest news, rumors, games, and more within the world of Xbox. You can catch us live on Sunday nights on twitch.tv/ArsenalXpodcast around 9 p.m. Eastern to join the conversation. If you can't join us live, no big deal. You can catch the show on our new YouTube channel, Arsenal X, the Xbox channel, where you can also catch Tower Casuals, our Destiny podcast, and content that we all decide to make freely in our own time if we want. So you can catch us there. Please like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you consume our show. You can catch all of our content and our family of shows on BossRushGames.com. Just a little bit of an update for you. Crossroads, the PlayStation podcast, is moving to LaRon's Twitch channel, which is Exodus 803. Nintendo Power Block and Boss Rush Games, Boss Rush podcast will still be on the Boss Rush Games Live. And there's something else too that's moving, but I can't remember. So update later. All right. God, I don't know why I do this housekeeping every week. I probably shouldn't do it anymore. But we have a few topics this week, guys. A few little topics. N7 Day was yesterday.
Yep.
Pretty big day for Mass Effect fans. Finally, the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Coming out next year sometime for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and PC. And the Series X and S updates and PS5 updates will come, quote, later. Whatever that means. Joe's shaking his head.
What does that mean? Like, I don't know. Like, it felt like just like such a shitty announcement for something that's like clearly been in the works and been teased and found out and discovered like 1,000 times. I'm excited that it's coming out. I am excited that it's coming out.
Yeah.
I just wish it was a better announcement.
Give us a date. Yeah, give us a date.
like I was fine with announcing it on N7 Day, but also part of me is like, so you're announcing this. It felt like it just like kind of like slipped out there, like, oh shit, we need to announce something on N7 Day. So, they've known about this for like 2 years now. We might as well just throw it out there. At this point, I almost wonder if it would have been better just to have like shadow dropped it.
Right.
But I agree. N7 Day is the most appropriate time to announce something like this.
Yeah.
But give me one screenshot. Yes. Give me one.
I like the big screen that said not actual gameplay.
You can put the targeted whatever, blah blah blah, but like give me something. You just confirmed something that we all kind of already knew. But like just give me a taste. Give me a little taste. Give me a sound bite. Give me something. Show me some progress. Show me like what you're trying to do other than just saying, "Hey, it's going to look better." Like show me. Show don't tell.
They also announced a new Mass Effect game is in the works with a, quote, veteran team at BioWare. Great.
If you needed any further proof that Anthem is likely never getting fixed, this was probably it.
They showed...
At least we can only...
Game Informer showed it off. They showed an animated GIF of a character screen that looked an awful lot like Destiny.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't tell... I can't tell you how...
Not even a video, just an animated GIF.
Yeah. It's pretty clear that is a bare bones skeleton crew project at the Austin studio at this point. But the next Mass Effect, we're just gonna call it Mass Effect 4 because Andromeda is not 4. Mass Effect 4 is probably not coming until like 2023 at best. Like this is as far out as Elder Scrolls 6. Let's be completely clear about that.
Yeah, the remaster is a band-aid to keep the fans interested enough in Mass Effect so it doesn't fade into obscurity and become like a cult game, so that like that's a bridge that they're trying to cross.
Yeah. At this point I just really wish that Anthem would have just literally been a multiplayer campaign and that's it, and not a game built to be, something that goes on and on. And I just make it like a multiplayer or co-op, I should say, co-op campaign, because I like everything about it, but there's
nice.
But there's just like I just don't need any more games like that. No one needs more games like that.
Like
I mean, Destiny and stuff is.
First of all, fix Anthem. Fix Anthem first, okay?
Or
it's been 2 years. It's never happening.
I know. Well, here's the thing. I know you have 2 studios, whatever, 3, whatever you want to count it, whatever. Fix Anthem. Finish Dragon Age, because we still haven't seen anything from Dragon Age. Nobody cares about Mass Effect right now. I'm sorry. Nobody cares about the next Mass Effect game right now.
I don't need it right now, and I love Mass Effect.
I do too. I even liked Andromeda, but not nearly as much as the original trilogy. Also, I played Andromeda when it was $7, and they patched it 5,000 times. But I don't. Nobody cares about Mass Effect right now.
I think BioWare has infinitely better goodwill right now with doing another Dragon Age. And depending on the reception of Dragon Age, I think that's going to really affect how we start getting hyped up for Mass Effect. Because Dragon Age, I mean, I can't even see that coming out before maybe first half 2022 at this point. Yeah. I don't know what to think about that.
You know what would be cool? If let's do a Dragon Age game, right? And then you put something that if you walk into this like random field, you find like a piece of an Omni Blade or something like that, and like, oh, this mysterious thing, and it doesn't do anything. But then that's like your tease for the next Mass Effect game. Be like, oh, it's still on their mind.
It's like in the Division 2 when you found that Viking poster and it was like, here's our Assassin's Creed tease.
Correct. Find a good way, or oh man, like in Halo Reach with all like the Destiny stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they teased the Traveler in ODST.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, I like little teases like that. Building. I know, obviously, we don't have to sit here and dwell on it or litigate on it, but I've never played Mass Effect 2 or 3. I played a lot of the first one, really enjoyed it, but by the time 2 and 3 came out, I was not playing a lot of video games. I had just started college when 2 came out, and I was just like, whatever. I have other things. I have a full-time job. I have a full course load. I'm talking to women that are adults.
I hope they're adults.
I have no time to play video games. Like I didn't even play Halo Reach when it came out because of that. That is to this day the only Halo I've never played and beaten day one. But I've never played 2 or 3. I really want to, and I'm excited to see what changes, if any, they make to number 1. Because I remember really liking Mass Effect 1. Like I see everybody complain about it, and I'm like, oh well, I really liked it. So.
I really liked it too, but
that's 2007 Josh talking.
Also, yeah, but also once like you play 2 and 3, and then you go back to 1 and realize that it didn't really age well.
Yeah,
it's one of those.
I mean, I've always been intrigued by the universe. I read the novels. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I read one of the comics. I really like the universe, so I'm excited for these to come out. But I'm also really excited that there's an EA deal with Game Pass because I'm not buying these remasters.
Yeah. I'll play them.
I'm done. Unless you give me a remaster on the level of Final Fantasy VII Remake or Resident Evil 2, I'm not buying another remaster ever again. Or Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening is another good one. But
other than the cosmetics from Mass Effect 1, the only thing that I feel like they need to fix is the fucking save feature in the first Mass Effect. The amount of times that I've played Mass Effect 1 and like made it 75% through a mission and then like mess up and die, and then like to go back to the beginning where it's like you just landed and like, well, I guess I'm done playing this game for the day. Just like instant quit. But like there's no sense. I'm not going to play another hour to get back to where I was.
Yeah.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Good saves are definitely important in a game when that kind of stuff happens. Yeah, like I'm the same way. There's a couple of games where if they don't have a good respawning point like type of save thing, like and you have to do a bunch of stuff over again, I just shut it off.
Oh man, how many games have you guys played where that's happened, and then you forget about why you stopped playing? You're like, you know what? I never finished that game, and you load up the game save. You're like, oh, this is why.
That's why.
This is the exact moment why that happened.
Yeah, there's a couple like that. At least 2 or 3, I think.
Yeah,
that's why I quit playing Andromeda. I never finished Andromeda, and it's because I was in like this cavern following somebody, and there was these. It was like one of those like waves of people thing. And I always play through on the hardest difficulty because I don't know why. I just do. And I was doing that, and I finally beat it. And then I was climbing around to try to explore a little bit, and I fell into like off a cliff or into like a pit, and I died. And then it started it over, and I uninstalled the game. And I was just like, this is not for me. It was very upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was but anyways, this Legendary Edition, just like it was something that I should have been excited for and wasn't, and just super. The key art's cool, like it's a cool image, but like, I mean, any fan could have done that with some assets in Photoshop.
It probably was a fan that did it with some assets.
They just copied it over. Like,
yeah. Even the little video was just like nothing.
Yeah, it was just let's put ominous lighting on all of the characters from Mass Effect and zoom out. Okay,
yeah,
neat.
Like a Ken Burns style trailer.
Yeah, I can do that in iMovie, guys.
Narrated by David Attenborough.
I don't understand that reference.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm excited that it's happening, but I am not excited with what was presented, sadly.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, if something feels like they're really not trying to have like any kind of like feeling of trying to get people excited for something, it's like, then if you don't have enough information to actually, give us something to make us, at least excited for a day that it's going to be, available for the next gen stuff or whatever, and try to ride that wave of excitement, then, what's the point in even doing it?
Yeah. So, let me put it this way. I'm more excited for the Prince of Persia remake. And let me tell you.
Remake that's not really a remake?
Yeah. Let me tell you. I'm not excited for that either. So, all right, we're going to move on here. Xbox Game Pass tweeted out an ominous tweet with The Mandalorian featured. They said, "We're not tweeting this picture out for no reason." What's happening? What is happening?
Okay, everybody,
Josh.
The conspiracy headphones are being donned. They're being donned. Okay.
Speaking of Josh, speaking of, before we get into this, should I make conspiracy headphones shirt for us? For you?
No.
I'm going to.
No. Yeah, do it.
It's just going to be a set of headphones, some glasses, and a beard.
A fake mustache.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're on. My friends, they are on. Okay. I talked last week very passionately about how I desperately want Knights of the Republic for free. Something else I've wanted for a very long time is a spiritual successor or a follow-up to Star Wars Bounty Hunter from the PS2.
Yes.
And if anybody does not remember this, if some of our listeners are maybe too young or did not indulge in this game, it was a game set shortly after the Phantom Menace where you play as Jango Fett and ends with you being recruited by Count Dooku to create the clone army. It was real cool. You only played as Jango, but it was the first game that really let you do that as a bounty hunter. And really, to this day, the only one that's let you do that. Star Wars 1313 was supposed to be a spiritual successor to this, and of course, got canceled the second that Disney bought Lucasfilm. This is not going to happen. I want to be abundantly clear with everybody who listens to this before anybody takes it and runs with it.
You don't know that.
I would absolutely love if this is teasing a exclusive game set with Din Djarin as the main character. I would absolutely love that, and it has the mechanics of Bounty Hunter in a gigantic open world, similar to what Visceral's canceled Star Wars game was supposed to be. I would absolutely love this. I do not think in any way, shape, or form this is happening, and if it was, it would not be getting teased by Xbox Game Pass. That being said, I think what this teases is you're going to get a deal similar to what we got with Funimation back in October, where you could get 2 free months of Funimation Premium. I think you're going to get 3 months of Disney Plus as a Game Pass perk starting tomorrow. Because the Fortnite Disney Plus deal was supposed to start as well this week, I believe.
What's the Fortnite Disney Plus deal?
I think if you buy anything in the shop, you can get like 2 or 3 months for free.
Oh.
So, because it's tying in with the whole Marvel event they're doing. Okay. So, I think that's going to happen here, especially with Jedi Fallen Order coming to Game Pass on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Who knows? The only other thing, and I mean, because that's the whole thing is, it's like, well, you very specifically used a shot from the latest episode of The Mandalorian. So that's my only guess, is that it's that. Now, if they come out and announce a game, which, again, to be clear, I do not think this is happening.
Same.
You guys wouldn't hear from me for the rest of the week. I'd have to go consult a doctor.
It's damn. By the way, this season of Mandalorian is very good.
It is very good.
I still haven't started it yet. I need to start it.
Nobody tell Jesse about the second episode.
No,
let me tell you what happened. So
the child is actually really it really is Baby Yoda.
It's Greedo.
No, actually,
it's Yaddle's offspring.
So.
It's what's his name?
So yeah, that's I don't know. I mean 3 months of Disney Plus for free. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean I'd gladly take 3 months. Again, I just can't think of anything else it would be at this point.
Especially with Falcon. What?
I think that's what it is. I think it's Disney Plus, but I'm going to be upset if it's like you have to be a new subscriber, like all the other.
I can't see that that's what it is. I saw somebody. Danny Pena on Twitter today was like, "What if they give us a whole year? If they bundle Disney Plus in with Game Pass Ultimate?" And I'm like, "Dude, there's no way. There's no way that they're going to give you a whole year of Disney Plus. They'll give you 3 months at most. Disney wants that Mandalorian money.
Yeah,
they want that Falcon and the Winter Soldier money.
God, I cannot wait for that show, man. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I can't wait.
WandaVision. We've got Moon Knight cast. We got She-Hulk cast. Let's go,
Wait,
boys.
who's Moon Knight?
It's Marvelous cast. Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight, my
Oh,
friends.
really? That was confirmed?
I mean, it came from Deadline, and Deadline is an industry trade.
Okay.
That they only report when they get stuff from the studios. So I am treating it as if it's happened.
Okay.
I can't remember the last time they announced a casting and it did not pan out for a Marvel or Star Wars movie.
I mean, it's probably a good
Isaac.
choice. It's probably a good choice.
Oscar Isaac for Moon Knight. Hell yeah, I love Moon Knight. It's one of my favorites.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Falcon and Winter Soldier though.
It's good
gonna be
times.
awesome.
It's good times, my friends.
Speaking of good times, guys, we did promise a Halo episode. We did promise Spartan 117 would be heavily represented on this episode. So, we're going to do a mini Halo retrospective, a mini celebration of our favorite Spartan who goes out there and saves the day against the aliens,
Mm-hmm. I will now be playing with my toys live for your enjoyment.
Will you please will you just actually, you know what? The rest of the show is just going to be Joe acting out every major scene from the Halo series with his toys for the remainder of the episode.
That would actually be hilarious.
Can we do that for a video on the channel?
He's gonna dark helmet it over here.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
I need a weapon. Yeah, what are you doing?
No, sir. I did not see you playing with your dolls again, sir.
What if you miss?
I won't.
Oh, it's still the greatest scene in Halo. Still the greatest scene.
So I don't want to go ahead of the thing here, but that was the coolest thing about the Halo 2 anniversary was how great the cutscenes were.
Mm-hmm.
That cutscene in particular.
I have gone through and just rewatched the cutscenes edited together on YouTube. That's how great they are.
I'm going to be honest. I'm probably going to watch them tonight now that I have the 4K monitor.
And it's in your head.
It's so good.
Yeah, I got to do it now. I got to watch that, and I got to watch the one where he leaves Cortana behind. I got to do it.
Have you guys read any of the novels or anything like that?
Every one of them except for the new one.
I read The Fall of Reach a long time ago.
Every single fan of the series should read Fall of Reach and First Strike. It gives so much more context around the first game. First and leading into the second one.
Halo Evolutions.
Also a great one. Great one. Great short stories. Yeah.
Really good. There's a lot of I don't know. I like a lot of that stuff that's in there. Sure. And the audiobook is great. Different.
Yeah, see, that's what I can't remember which one I listened to, but I listened to one in an audiobook just because it's easier for me with a job. Like I've had jobs over the years where I could listen to podcasts or whatever. And yeah, when I used to work at the YMCA third shift, I could listen to music and stuff, and I listened to one of them during that. I also listened to every single Harry Potter book on audio.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a Harry wizard.
The guy that did the voices would change his voice for each character, dude, and he was a British guy, and it was just awesome. Like I could listen to him read any book to me.
He tucks you in at night.
Yeah.
Good night.
What was everyone's first Halo game? Like, what was the first one that you played?
Halo 1.
Halo 1?
Yeah.
Halo 1. Actually, no. So I am a few years younger than the rest of the crew.
Marathon.
Halo 2 was actually my first one. I remember playing it and playing through Cairo Station and playing all the way up through Metropolis. And my friend's older brother walked into the room and was like, he just looked at me. He's like, Josh, have you ever played the first Halo? I was like, there's a first one. Like, I mean, I'm like 10, 11 years old at this point. And he's like, yeah, you should definitely play through Halo 1. So I played through Halo 1, and after that, and it was just like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like, Halo 1 was already a classic, and then Halo 2, Halo 2 is my all-time favorite game. So second favorite. But
the first thing I played was Combat Evolved, but I didn't even play through the story. The first thing that I played on it was multiplayer.
Multiplayer, man.
And it was Beaver Creek was the first map that I played. It was because I had like a friend coming over, and I was like, I had an Xbox, and I was like, we got to play a multiplayer game. And I knew nothing about Halo at that time, and I got it from Best Buy and an extra controller. And then as soon as we heard like game over and like the whole like double kill, triple kill, like we're like this is amazing.
I'll say this: Blood Gulch is where men were born.
Oh man,
boys became men on Blood Gulch.
Hours.
Not coagulation. Blood Gulch.
Hours.
Wizard rockets.
Shoddy snipers only.
Hang 'em high, pistols only.
Yeah. Hang 'em high, pistols only. Speaking my language. My favorite map. Favorite map.
Yeah. Halo 1 was my first Halo. It was the game. Like, I went over to one of my friend's house to play Halo after, like, one of our football meetings on a weekend, and I was like, okay, let's go. I'll go, whatever. I wasn't really friends with these people, but I liked video games, and I was like, okay, you're inviting people over to play video games. I'll, jump in. I didn't have an Xbox. I had a GameCube and a Dreamcast. And so we went over, and they were playing Halo. I was like, what is this game? They're like, well, it's called Halo. You just shoot people, and it's really fun. And so we played Halo for like a couple hours. I was like, man, I need an Xbox. So like literally the next weekend, I was like begging my mom and dad to take me to Best Buy to go get an Xbox. And they did. And I got Halo. What else did I get? I got something else too, but I think it was something stupid like Azaric or something. One of those really... No, it was Brute Force. Brute Force.
Oh, yeah.
It was bad. It was bad. But I already... It was already at that time where the Duke was kind of discontinued and they were selling the S controllers. So, like, I never really had to fight over having a Duke or anything. And then I think the greatest night ever with Halo 1, it was 2 weeks before Halo 2 came out, I think. There was 32 people at my friend's house, and we had 2 games of 8-on-8 going on in his basement. And it was crazy. It was so crazy. I have no idea, like, how we even got... Because, I mean, we still had tube TVs back then. It was like people carried their giant-ass TVs down into this basement. And we had so many TVs going on. It was awesome. It was so cool. And then, like, it was funny because, like, when Halo 2 came out, Halo 2 is actually probably my least played Halo game. I got Halo 2 and I played through the campaign, and then I just kind of put it away. I didn't have Xbox Live at the time, and when I went to college, like, it was still at a time where, like, you couldn't connect to the internet with the Xbox, but you could, like, if you plugged it into the Ethernet port, it was more like a giant LAN party instead. So, like, the Xbox was, like, always on in our, like, common room area. But, like, my friends would play it, and I was in my dorm room playing, like, I don't know, probably something like Kingdom Hearts or something. I don't know. Halo 2 was like my least played Halo until, like, the Master Chief Collection came out. I was like, oh, well, I really see why people like Halo 2 multiplayer now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just loved the maps and that game. Like, for me, like, yeah, my first one was Combat Evolved. That was, like, that game and Oddworld, I think, were, like, the first games that I got for my Xbox. And I remember, like, me and my friends did eventually play multiplayer on that one, like, together, like, as a group, like, but it was just on one console. It was the split screen. Because my friends didn't have an Xbox right away. Because I basically got one, like, right when they came out. Like, right when it came out, I got it right away. And then, but the only thing that sucks is I didn't get Xbox Live until late, just long enough after that it came out that I was not considered part of the early adopters or whatever club that, you remember a while ago on 360, I think it was. they were giving out like certain special like avatar things for people who got Xbox Live when it first came out or something like that. I was so mad. I'm like, God, I got the Xbox when it first came out. That should at least count. But yeah, so it wasn't until Halo 2 that I really got into the multiplayer stuff, like more, where it was more people that I knew that played it, and going to LAN parties and, you know, and stuff like that. And like it, you know, that was like when it really like sealed the deal for me, as far as like, you know, like as long as they keep on making Halo games, I'm gonna be buying them, basically. You know, like I loved the first one, 2 obviously, but it was like 2 just for me. They did just the right amount of changing of things, and you know, and adding things, and you know, it just felt so much better than the first one. But yeah, but I'll never forget, like this was like after Halo 3 had already came out. I fired Combat Evolved up on my PC one day, and I'm like, you know what? I've never played this. I've never played multiplayer on PC before. I should just try this once. And I jumped in, and like, I swear to God, it felt like I was going against bots, because I was just destroying everyone. And I'm like, this is so weird. I've never played it on PC before, and I'm literally winning like every single game. So I don't know if there was bots on that at some point, like if you tried to log into a multiplayer online game, or if I just had a freak day where I was just doing really well. but yeah, so I yeah, a lot of great memories though with both of them, but definitely 2 was like a little bit more you know, available as far as people that I could play with and stuff.
So I lived in the middle of nowhere. Like dial-up was a luxury that I had for internet.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys did this, but we did LAN parties, and that was like, I think even to this day, I'm still chasing the high of like a great Halo LAN party. It was like my favorite thing. My buddy, his dad had like a business where they did like presentations for certain things, so he had all these projectors, so we would go and like unhook the projectors and like have huge screens so we could do like nice. Like the 4 splits. We just do it on walls.
Yeah. Nice.
So we were always chasing that. Do you remember like you could change like your name and your color in between matches before? That was also to see like who killed you next and see who that person was. But we would me and my one friend, we did this tunneling thing where you could hook your Xbox, this is original Xbox and Combat Evolved, up to your PC, and then tunnel into another person's PC and basically set up like a LAN through fucking dial-up internet. Talk about the jankiest play sessions I've ever had. Was like, we'd have to like have like IM open so you can chat, because you're occupying the phone lines because there was no voice chat. You'd like I'm gonna go here, and like it was so stuttery, and like all of a sudden they would appear. It was like the worst. But that was like my first like this. So when they did like Xbox Live, I'm like, oh my God, I hope it's like that tunneling thing, and it's like, oh, it's like infinitely better than that in every way. My little brain could not handle how much better Xbox Live, and it's like think now how casually I hook up with somebody like hook up with somebody online. That doesn't sound great.
I'm going to read this first comment that we have about the Halo stuff. Dan Rudebacher writes in. He says, "Hey guys, just wanted to say I dig the show. It's nice to see a lot of people my age still loving games. Halo was second only to GoldenEye with me and my friends on the weekends. Everyone's fighting over who was using the Duke. Made us have rules. Whoever loses uses the Duke. It was that way well into the 360 until Halo 3 came out. We still meet up once a week online to play Halo Master Chief Collection or Halo 5. I'm 35 with 3 kids, and Halo still is the reason I get to play games like one." So, man, that sucks. Whoever loses uses the Duke. Although I held it.
For us, it was always the little brothers got it because they wanted to play with us so bad. One of my real friends, Josh, we would force his brother to use the Duke or to use like the off-brand Mad Cats controller.
Oh, the Mad Cats!
He would get so mad because you had to like practically go like claw style on it.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "This is unfair. This is stupid." I mean, God, this kid. I swear to God, he hates us to this day. We made variants in Halo 3 called Kill Chris. Where we would all be on a team without him, and just 11 of us chasing him down. Like, we'd bring all of our buddies in on Xbox Live. We'd be like, "Hey, Chris, you want to play with us?" He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm so excited!" And then it was hell on earth for that kid, that poor kid.
I mean, that's fair.
He doesn't play Xbox anymore.
He's a PlayStation person now.
He doesn't play video games at all anymore, I don't think.
That's a shame.
I just remember when we used to have some LAN parties, like before I got an Xbox, like people, since I was like the new guy at Halo, they made me use the Duke, and also probably because they were making fun of me secretly, because, well, that was me. But when I bought my Xbox, I literally bought a controller and wouldn't let anybody use that controller because it was my controller no matter what. And yeah, that was.
I think everyone has a nice controller that's theirs, right? Like you have your controller, then you have like the company or the guest controller.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the one that has like the joystick is a little janky.
Yeah,
well, maybe right bumper sticks a little.
Well, for me, it's like my Switch. I use the Xenoblade Chronicles Special Edition one, and everybody else has to use like the Joy-Con slotted controller or like a regular Pro controller. And for Xbox, I ended up getting the gray one with the green sticks, and everybody else that comes over has to use the black ones because I'm just like, yeah, can't. I have to use this controller. It's my hand. It's melded to my hand perfectly. It's like the seat cushion that you sit in all the time. It's just perfectly formed to your ass.
Yeah, there's the when you go over someone's house, you can tell when it's their chair. Like it's like, oh, you're not gonna sit in that. That's their recliner. That's theirs. I can see their shape in there. It's like they're invisible and sitting in it right now.
If it has an ass imprint in it, you don't sit in that chair.
Yeah.
No, for several reasons, but one of them is being polite.
It's probably extra warm there too. You don't want to sit in there.
Also, there's probably like a hazmat warning.
Yeah. Also,
it's like Chernobyl.
Also, my controller has a chat pad on it, which weighs down the controller ever so slightly, and I like. When I get my Series X, I would probably still use an Xbox One controller for that simple fact that like I don't know if the chat pad can fit on the new controllers, so I'll probably have to use the old ones. So, which sucks.
For me, I'm gonna probably hook up my my gaming keyboard and stuff, so then I just have full keyboard for typing and stuff names.
I don't use it
because I'll have it at the.
I don't use it for typing. I mean, it is nice in the store when I'm searching for something. I'll type in whatever I'm searching for, but like, I literally only purchased one to weigh the controller down in my hand. I didn't get it for any other particular reason.
Okay.
So
the Duke.
Yeah, the Duke. I really hope.
Get one.
I really hope that the chat pads work on the new controllers, because if I can't weigh down those new controllers, I'm going to be really upset that I spent $60 on this blue controller that I'm never going to use.
I would imagine it would, because I feel like if the Elite 2 is supposed to basically be the next gen, like a next gen controller, like that they would have like this is how it's going to be for the most part. Yeah. Obviously it doesn't have a share button, where the share button would be on the Elite is how you change your different settings, but
yeah,
I'm surprised you didn't put a share button on it just for later.
Sam Hall writes in, he says, "Hey guys, Halo was one of the first shooters I ever played, and it's been a staple ever since. Even though its innovation and storytelling has been down over the last few entries, it's still a fucking blast to play. My friends and I met at the Halo 3 midnight release where we exchanged gamer tags and we still play to this day. Love what you do. Thanks for the show. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all have friendships that have been kind of defined by this franchise in a lot of ways. Up to this day, like the guys that I'm still super close with from childhood, it was because we played a ton of Halo together. I met my best friend playing Halo. Halo 2 came out, and he asked me when I was a new kid at school. He was like, "Oh, you like Halo?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, well, you know, my brother just bought Halo 2. You want to come over and play it?" And I mean, we never looked back. He and I we play Destiny weekly to this point. You know, I don't know, like that's a lifelong best friendship. I mean, it's on top of, you know, other friends where, you know, like I said, torturing little brothers, younger siblings in those games. But yeah, it was just this whole group, and me, him, and occasionally another guy from that group we'll still squat up. We're all excited for Infinite. We're all excited for Master Chief Collection getting these improvements. Halo is such a huge part of our friendship. Bungie games in general are.
I mean, like,
the game does that.
Yeah, and it's, you know, like you guys were talking about earlier with, you know, like, well, I think one of the main reasons what made it such a great game is, like you guys said, like being able to just kind of create your own rules, and like I feel like every single one of us has had, you know, like had that experience who grew up with Halo, of having some kind of, you know, game type or whatever that someone made up, or you know, like had a variant of whatever kind of game type that we would like to play, you know, and like looked forward to. And, you know, like that was the fun thing about it, is like they kind of, you know, they gave you that option. And then, like, when, you know, with the Forge thing, being able to create your own maps and everything, like, you know, that was like before like Minecraft, and before, you know, like it was like giving you an opportunity to like just really kind of do your own thing however you wanted, including a map. And it is just, yeah, there's just so many things that game did that, like, yeah, you may have been able to do kind of in other games before, but they just did it so well.
Yeah.
I remember every game that wasn't Halo during that era that came out, and I would say like Call of Duty aside, because it's its own beast, but every game that came out that was like some sort of shooter that had a it felt like they had to put a multiplayer aspect on it. And I just remember like all of them being like, it's like, I remember like every time being like, I'll play it, and then you play it, and it's like, well, it's not Halo, so I don't know why I would play this. Yeah. Because the replayability in Halo for, I would say, multiplayer, Forge, when they added Forge, when they started doing where you could, the theater mode, which was, it's still amazing, and I still don't understand why every game doesn't have a version of that, is just beyond me. And you had the skulls, like all the secrets, all the Easter eggs in the game that you could go and discover. There were so many reasons. Like, remember GoldenEye had those, each level had those, like, cripes. There was, like, the harder difficulties, and you could get, like, all the extra objectives. And then there would be, like, all those, there was, like, secret stuff that you could do in them if you unlocked it. And I feel like the Halo like games were, like... mode. It was all very similar. It's like, you think about the value that you got, especially for Combat Evolved. I don't remember if it was $50 or $60 at the time, but like the value that you got out of that one purchase is just insane. I don't think we see that anymore in any game. I mean, you play the same game. I've been playing Destiny 2 for I don't know how many years.
Yeah, but how much money have you spent in Destiny?
But how much money have I sunk back into that game? I basically spend $70 a year now on Destiny, if not way more than that when you consider all the stupid, goofy shit that I buy.
Not including silver.
I spend right around $100 on that game a year.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. Like, that doesn't... No. I get it. They're adding content that's... It's not like it's the same game and like, it's static or anything like that. It's definitely different. So I think that it's worth it for me.
Yeah.
But like, man, can you imagine spending $60 on a game now and being like, I'm gonna play this game for about 4 or 5 years, and that'll be good for me till the next one comes out.
Really, I think the last game that did that was Halo 5 for me, honestly. Like, I still play Halo 5 occasionally. I mean, I didn't play it as nearly as much as the other Halo games or Gears or whatever, but like, I think the last time I spent $60 and that was it, and still play the game occasionally, was Halo 5.
I still play Halo 5.
Yeah.
For me, it was right before I had kids. That's the last time that I played Halo for any more than for a long periods of time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like when I play Destiny, it's to play the PvE with my friends and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to play something competitive in the first person shooter range, it's definitely going to be Halo.
Yeah, for sure.
I think besides, well, I haven't played Call of Duty in years, but I think besides Call of Duty, I think Halo still offers some of the best multiplayer out there. Period.
Yeah,
especially Master Chief Collection. Holy crap!
Insane value.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
now that it works properly, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do jump back into the Master Chief stuff and play some multiplayer every once in a while, but I'm so bad at the game now because I'm just so I just don't play it regularly enough, and that's one of those things I've always had an issue with first person shooter games is I have to stick with it for a long period of time, or otherwise I just drop right off when it comes to being able to be competitive.
Yeah. So. Micah Branch writes in again. He says, "Hey, 3CJ, wanted to comment on the Halo show. Halo actually never hit my console until Halo: The Master Chief Collection. I have always had an Xbox, but Halo never made it. I was an RPG nerd with Fable, Morrowind, Jade Empire, KOTOR, and Mass Effect. Halo still feels timeless in a lot of cases, and I still can't wait for Infinite." So that's a rarity to have an Xbox and not have Halo, I feel like.
Yeah.
Especially that first box.
Yes.
I said this on Boss Rush podcast yesterday when we were talking with Ed. We got into a discussion about launch titles and how it's so rare to have a title that's a must-buy at a launch that is an exclusive. And I was like, in the last 20 years, I can think of about 3 games that, not counting the 2 new consoles, that have been a must-play day one. And that's Breath of the Wild. Wow, shit. I had 3 games, and I can't even remember what the second one was. But I had Halo. Halo was good. That's the crux of the story here is Halo. Halo and Halo 2 had an almost 1-to-1 adoption rate with copies sold and consoles sold in that first generation of Xbox. I personally have never known anybody who owned an original Xbox or a 360 that did not own a Halo game.
Mario 64, I think.
Mario. I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, or it was something for PlayStation. I'm pretty sure the old PlayStations.
I don't know. Anyway, it's not
I
important.
forget.
It's not important.
The Summoner.
Anyways, the point is, it was Halo, and Halo's not only one of the singularly most important games ever made. Without Halo, you probably don't have Xbox existing anymore.
Yeah.
It is very safe to say that without Halo, the Xbox likely does not succeed. Not that they had a bad launch or anything. They had good games, but they didn't have a game you had to play outside of Halo. Project Gotham was fine. I love Oddworld. But those aren't system sellers. Halo, on the other hand, not only was a system seller, it was a cultural revolution. Master Chief is one of the most iconic pop culture characters of the last 20 years.
It doesn't matter that Halo's bad anymore. It doesn't, or not bad. I shouldn't say that. It doesn't matter that Halo isn't as relevant as it used to be. You say Xbox, the first thing you think of is Master Chief and Halo. That's why Infinite not being there this week is such a big blow.
Yeah.
You associate Xbox with Halo, and we haven't had a Halo at launch since that original one. we usually have to wait 2, almost 3 years into a console being out in order to get one now. And I think we take a look at this and we kind of take for granted that, like, Xbox really hit it. They take a chance on this game from Bungie. It was originally supposed to be an RTS game, and they were like, what if we turn this into a first-person shooter? And you have Bungie, who I think second only to Infinity Ward in terms of, I don't even think they're second personally. I think Bungie is superior, but in terms of creating a long-lasting franchise and literally revolutionizing the way that we play shooters on console. Like GoldenEye was a big deal, but it was kind of an outlier as far as FPSs on consoles. Halo proved FPSs belonged on consoles.
Well, and I think, to your point about them being, better than, like the Call of Duty franchise as far as when it comes to studios, like the thing is like the Call of Duty franchise has always had to try to create that next, like thing that had to try to make it relevant. Whereas Halo, like, people have always loved Halo kind of the way it was, and they only changed what they felt needed to be improved. But so much of it was so perfect that there wasn't a whole lot that they had to do to the game, and we were glad that like, it was just so perfect that they didn't have to try to do. I mean, eventually they did start putting in like suit power-ups, and which I was one of those people that wasn't really excited about those kind of additions. But it was what it was, and I got over it really quick. But like I think one of the reasons I had always really enjoyed it is just it reminded me of my favorite parts of FPS games, be it from Xbox or PC, where I did do a lot of gaming for a while. Like, I did the Unreal Tournament a lot. I did the those kind of games on PC for a while, and I just really liked that old school arena kind of feel in it, and they just stayed true to that for a real long time, and it didn't get stale. Like they were able to continue to make it exciting and fun, and like they didn't have to try to chase the next idea or try to, like, do all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and like, you talk about the suit power-ups, and you talk about different things like, sprint being introduced to the game and things like that. And those are things you didn't have to change the core gameplay, but I think a game like Halo, and we discussed this over the summer, and back in early summer with Luke when he came on, but Halo is one of those franchises that I think is struggling to find its place in 2020 amongst the fast-paced shooters of the world. You have things like Destiny that are just so fluid these days. Like, it's hard for me not to play a fast-paced FPS now. Like, for me to go back and play Halo, I played some multiplayer for the first time in a couple years last week, and I was like, holy crap! I played only Halo 2 and 3 in my playlist. I was like, this is rough. This is, and not that it's bad or anything, but it's because I haven't played a game like that in so long. Like, no other game plays like that, and that's both a good and a bad thing, I think. I think 343 especially has really struggled to figure out how to bring Halo into the current generation, and I hope to God that they finally nail it with Infinite. I think they took a good first step before Battle Royales became all the rage with Warzones. I still maintain Warzone should be a detached mode and be a free download for anybody to play. It's something it's a lot like Fortnite and Call of Duty in that respect. You don't have to pay for anything in that game if you don't want to. It's interesting to see what they're trying to do, because I mean, on the heels of us having arguably the worst Halo campaign in Halo 5, and the kind of like, I think you either loved it or hated it when it came to Warzone. Like, I loved it. I played more of that than I have any Halo multiplayer probably in the last 10 years combined, like across 4 or 5 ODST and Reach. But you also had a series best, arguably, multiplayer in 5, which I think we overlook a lot. So I'm curious to see how my favorite franchise continues to evolve.
Yeah.
But I want to pose a question to you guys though, like as we kind of wind down and we start kind of getting retrospective with this. Do you think it's time for us to? I know Halo's been away for a couple of years. After Infinite and with the updates, they said they want it to be a platform and stuff. Is it time to let Halo take a rest for a while, or to let somebody else have a crack at it, if nothing else?
I think it depends on how this one reviews, right? Because like if it's like a 10 out of 10 and everybody loves it, like everybody's going to want more Halo. I think this game can be no less than great. It can't just be another good shooter, right? Like it has to be great. And if it's any less than that, maybe it is time, maybe
like it's got to be like God of War like level, like in my opinion, like the story needs to be like God of War level, like people are talking about it for weeks about what happens in the story and and things like that. I honestly think it's gonna have to be something like that. It's gonna have to have some kind of staying power as far as how the story goes.
And not only that, I feel like it has to fix a lot of the mistakes that Halo 5 made in its storytelling, right? Like it has to not only tell its own story, but it has to fix those mistakes as well, which puts a lot of extra pressure on that team. And as disappointed as I am that we're not getting Halo at launch, I'm glad. I hope they take all the time they need to make this just the best Halo game since Bungie left.
It has to be nothing short of the best one since Halo 3. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Not that Reach isn't great. I don't hold Reach as high of esteem as the trilogy personally. For me, it's just barely a step below those. Maybe like a half step. But I think you have to have that kind of powerful story. I think if nothing else, you can keep doing stuff in this universe, especially now with id and Machine Games joining the Xbox Game Studios portfolio. But I do think it's kind of time for us to tell some stories again. If this is the end of the Forerunner Reclaimer trilogy, whatever you want to call it, I think it's time to tell some stories in this universe without Master Chief again.
Yeah.
I think that's something they've really excelled at in the, Joe talked about the Halo books earlier and about the expanded universe. And that's something I think 343 has done really well in wake of Bungie leaving, is that has arguably only gotten better. The expanded universe has continued to grow. I wish we could get that level of storytelling in the games, though. It kind of goes back to the argument of Destiny 1 of there's all this incredible lore, there's this incredible storytelling, but I have to go to a website to read this. I want Joe's take on all this.
Yeah, because Joe is the Halo guy on this show.
Halo guy.
He's Mr. Halo. He's Mr. Chief, if you will.
I love Mr. Chief. He's I think that 343's biggest obstacle right now is probably the fans. They're very restless, and I see a lot of negativity a lot of the times coming from things out of there, and I don't want 343 to make a game that they think the fans are going to like. I think they need to make a game that is a good game. And I think they need to, because if everyone's divided. If you go and ask the Halo community right now, it's like, well, do you think there should be sprint? They're like, some people say yes and some people will say no. Personally, I can't play a shooter anymore if it doesn't have sprint in it. It's very difficult. I think that it's okay that if the game like Halo changes.
You're telling me he's a super soldier that can't run? Like, you know what I mean?
Correct. And there's people that's like, you shouldn't aim down sights. And I'm like, yeah, Halo's aim down sights can be different than Call of Duty. But also, like, yeah, I expect that if I pull the other trigger, I'm going to zoom in a little bit and get a tighter shot. Like, that's an expected behavior now. Yeah. And if it doesn't have that, it's going to feel weird. So I think they just need to lay their groundwork for a great game. My biggest worry with them is that I am almost certain that this next Halo game, and I think they pretty much confirmed it, that it's a game as a service, right? It's like the hub for the next 10 years of Halo. Name one game as a service that launched fine. I don't think there is one. And there's a lot, like Destiny is, I would say, in a great spot right now.
Yes.
It wasn't always that way.
It is the only one in a good spot, in my opinion.
I don't want them to release this game and them to have every struggle that every game as a service have, and then to ultimately overcome that, but then the community be so aggressively negative about how it launched that it kind of dies as that a result. I do expect it to be... I want it to be a good game, but I am expecting to have problems with how ambitious creating a living world is, like, right out of the gate. Maybe they'll get it right. Maybe, like, there's plenty of data available for them right now to get it right. I mean, they have plenty of failed ones that they... Like, look at the Avengers. What a nightmare that is.
Yeah. What did they say? So, like, approximately only, like, 3 million units sold or something? Like, they lost, like...
Yes.
60-something million
dollars. As of now, they've lost at least $63 million. It's estimated the budget before marketing was $100 million, and marketing probably tacked on another 50 to 60.
How do you not know that that's a... It's... I played the demo and was like, I don't think this is great. I mean, like, it's fun to play as a superhero, obviously, but, like...
When it works.
When it works, and you don't ever feel like you're... I didn't... Like, there was very few times where I actually felt like a superhero.
My thing with that game is that it hard crashed on me 3 times in, like, within 2 days, and I was like, I can't play this game if it's going to do this. Like, I literally can't play the game, so I uninstalled it.
Joe, I like that you brought up Halo Infinite being a games as a service or something in that arena. It frankly terrifies me. When I heard them say that, I went, oh God, here we go. Here we go. Because I can count on one hand the games as a service that are actually good. And to be clear, when I say games as a service, I don't mean something where, oh, you can buy just skins. Buying skins is not a service as far as I'm concerned. Like, I mean, like, buying something that affects your gameplay. So, like, for example, Rainbow Six Siege, Destiny, you're buying new content packs and stuff. Apex Legends, you're buying new characters. Those 3 are the only ones off the top of my head. They're games as a service that actually work, that are not MMOs. So, like, no Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft or anything like that. The ones that have come and gone, the Division maybe was the closest to getting into that tier. I think they fixed Division 1, and then as soon as they got that fixed, Division 2 comes out. Nobody cared about Warlords of New York, the expansion that came out last year. I haven't seen a single person touch that.
Well, it's like
3 did not do good.
It's like what Joe said with the Division, going back to the Division. He said, you know, what was it, maybe like a month ago, you said, I can't figure it out, but all Ubisoft games are fun until they're not.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, that was my experience with the Division 2. I played it for 10 hours and had a great time for those 10 hours. And then I was just like, I'm not having fun anymore.
I enjoyed the campaign, but I don't want to go do a raid in that game. I don't want to do PvP in that game. I don't want to do Dark Zone. I don't care about any of that stuff. It's just not fun to me. As far as, so Halo is coming in and trying to compete in an arena where most games fail. We have more games turn out like an Anthem or a Fallout 76 or an Avengers than we do turn out like a Destiny. And even if you do turn out like a Destiny or a Rainbow Six Siege, you're launching usually with bare bones content or something severely broken, and you're spending most of the first year fixing it. We've given grace to Bungie twice with Destiny and had a major expansion fix things. Like, the small packs helped fix things, and then the major packs really were like, okay, this is the amount of content we should have had to begin with. This is these are the changes that should have been there from day one. Thankfully, we're not saying that anymore, but I think you give a lot of grace because Bungie, this goes back to Halo, you're giving them grace because of the Halo legacy.
They deserve it.
They do, and they really do. Like, in my opinion, nobody is better at fine-tuning gunplay than Bungie is. It's been that way since 2001, and it's going to keep being that way as far as I'm concerned. 343 does not have room for that kind of grace after Halo 4 and Halo 5, after the disaster that was the Master Chief Collection launch. It's bad. They're in a very precarious place, and I mean, they've greenlit all these spin-offs also. Halo Wars 2 reviewed pretty well. Almost nobody played it, though. It's a console RTS. Who actually enjoyed Spartan Assault or Spartan Strike? I know, I get that those were originally mobile games, but still, like, did anybody actually enjoy those?
I played it on my phone to kill time. Yeah, there was 2.
I did not. Strike. Yeah, Strike never came to console.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I personally, I didn't enjoy those. It's
You can't play them on your phone anymore.
If you're gonna give me a spinoff, give me ODST or something. You know,
I want a spin-off of Blue Team, like a 3-player campaign of Blue Team and how they got back to Master Chief.
I think that what Halo needs is 3 things. The first one being they do need a story, and I get it, but you need a story where you play as Master Chief. It has to be that way. Has to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They need a great multiplayer, which 343 is clearly capable of doing. I'm sorry, but Halo 5 is a good multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is still good to this day. They still support it. It's like 5 years later, and it's still largely the same game, and it's still fine. And they have a good rotation of like things and incentives to come back every week. It's good. It's not great, but it's like very solid. I think you could refine from that and be fine. But I need in Halo, especially if this is a 10-year thing and this is a game as a service, I need to be a Spartan. I need to create my Spartan and my character and have something to do in that world as myself. Destiny clearly took that route where you are picking your Guardian. I need to be my Spartan. I want to and I get that you kind of do that in multiplayer where you have like your skins and your armor and stuff like that. But I need something outside of that activity where I can use that character and play as that character to show off that character and play with friends.
Yeah. I think one thing that would be kind of cool to see is like, and I'm sure we will probably get some form of this with that being more, of an open world game, but like almost doing something similar to like a like a dungeon crawl type thing, but more. I think it would work more along the lines of like a Tomb Raider type thing. How there's the certain hidden areas or areas that you can go into, in the world that kind of like give you opportunities to unlock secret things that you can only do that way. Like finding a cave somewhere while you're playing that's got like some kind of creatures in it that you have to take out or whatever. And it's more about going against the elements and not always just going against the enemy of the game. Like give you points where you can kind of like get some other experiences inside the open world that don't necessarily have anything to do with like, even if it's just like finding out lore about the part of the ring that you're on in those areas, like cave stuff or whatever, I think would be interesting.
Sorry, I don't want to keep jumping in, but you gave me an idea. Think about how cool Halo 5 would have been if instead of you playing as Locke, you played as a character you created. Yeah. And you were just trying to track down basically the same story. Yeah. But then you're alternating between playing as Master Chief and playing as your character trying to find Master Chief.
Yeah. It's like the Noble 6.
It would have been a better game.
It's like taking the Noble 6 route and Reach too, right? Like, I mean,
right.
And even ODST, where you play as all the different members of the squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could have created that game where I think that's an opportunity to do that. You could do like Secret Ops or something as your own character. Yeah. And play with other iconic Spartans. Anyway.
Yeah. So, Josh, I know that you need to be somewhere. You have a heart out. Do we want to continue this conversation as we let Josh go, or do we kind of want to just say our final thoughts and let him?
I think we can ride or die. I mean, I would say if.
I feel like we're gonna. I feel like we could talk. We could continue this on another episode as well. I mean, I'm always for talking about more.
I'd like to save some more of the Halo talk personally for when we actually get some more concrete details.
Yeah.
On Infinite for the re-reveal.
Okay. Yeah.
Or
I mean,
when
after this week's going to be kind of like Series X, all kinds of talk. Like next week, like Josh said, with the re-reveal of Halo Infinite, maybe we can talk more about Halo, but I just before we go, what's everybody's favorite Halo game?
It's a dead heat between 2 and 3. It's just 2. I'll never forget the moment you're playing 2. Metropolis happens, and Chief and them escape on the Pelican and on the Inhammer-clad, and then all of a sudden the next mission is you're controlling the Arbiter. That's one of the all-time great plot twists to me. And then I mean Halo 3. It's just how do you top what is the end of the Halo I grew up with?
Yeah,
it's one of the best endings to any trilogy in any medium, I think.
Yeah. Jesse, what's your favorite Halo?
This has been a hard one because like I really, really, really love Halo 2. Like that, like that for me, that was like the one that like I just really, really enjoyed the story a lot. And 3, like, like Josh said, 3 is really, really good as well. But I did really like 4.
Mm-hmm.
I liked 4. It, like it was the beginning of, a new team taking, like kind of taking control of things. And I felt like it was, like was a decent, addition. Just like I just didn't, at the point of 2, you didn't think for a second that there would ever be anyone else who would be making Halo, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like, so like I guess what I'm saying is 2 is definitely my favorite, but 4 is a very, very close second for me, just because I had a lot of respect for, like what it was,
mm-hmm.
and it not being someone who was there the whole way through,
Yeah.
So,
Joe, what about you?
Halo 2, just because it was the one I got invested in the franchise.
mm-hmm.
That was during the time where I was like watching E3 when it happened, when they like showcased Zanzibar. I
Mm-hmm.
was watching, like getting like when you get like those screenshot that would leak on like GameSpot.com or whatever, and you're like, you pine over that for such a long period of time. I feel like I lived with the production and the release of Halo 2 up until its release. Then Xbox Live happened. Like that was my first midnight launch, like when I could go on my own with like friends and stuff like that. I was old enough to like be there by myself. Like there's a lot of growing up that happened with Halo 2
mm-hmm.
with me. So Halo 2 would probably be my favorite game, or at least my favorite Halo.
Yeah. For me, I think I love Halo 4. I still think it's like my favorite in terms of like story wise. I love
mm-hmm.
like just that here's a new take on Halo, but also like Halo 3 is probably my favorite overall, just because of all the midnight launch to playing with friends and meeting
mm-hmm.
people, and just the amount of time I spent playing Halo 3 was it's probably why it's my favorite. But we're going to wrap it up. We're going to have more Halo talks for sure. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening on our new Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/ArsenalX Podcast. You can also find our new YouTube channel, ArsenalX, the Xbox channel. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ArsenalX Podcast. Two more sleeps, guys. 2 more sleeps. I'm very excited.
2 more sleeps.
So, 1 for me.
Yeah. Jesse, where can we find you?
Hey, you can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS.
Joe.
You're going to want to check those show notes. They're coming in hot. Colonel Panic on Twitter. Check it out.
Check the show.
You can also check the right side of the screen here. Everybody's Twitter's there too. Other way.
We need to get
everyone's
Xbox screen name though, I think, on there.
Yeah,
too. Because I think some of us, yeah.
We'll get there. Josh, where can we find you?
As always, every Thursday night, right here on this channel, Tower Casuals, a Destiny podcast. On Twitter at @Josh_Finn with 2 N's. And the same thing on Twitch, twitch.tv/Josh_Finn. Swing by this week. We're going to play a lot of Bright Memory, a lot of Destiny, and we're going to play both of the new Xboxes. So we'll have some fun conversations about those.
Yeah. You can find me at I am CoreyNHD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at CoreyNHD on Twitch. You can also find me here on Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast, and Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you consume the show. If you're watching live on Twitch, hit that follow button, and we will see you next week. Next Gen is here. Goodbye, everybody.
Yes.
Bye.